Okay, so let's talk about home herbalism, being a home herbalist, and there's a lot to it, but here are some of my thoughts on the foundation of home herbalism. Here's some of what I think goes into the mix of building and growing our skills as home herbalists, and this, of course, isn't the end-all list, and ultimately, you know what I want to do, right? I just want to get the wheels turning on this conversation, right? So I'd like to talk about what I think are the 5 foundations that you absolutely put into place as herbalism becomes part of your home culture. Number 1, the plants, right? The plants. Plants. The plants are core. Understanding, connecting with your plants. I mean, the herbs and spices are plants, right? The turmeric is a root. Cardamom is a seed. Thyme is a leaf. So yeah, the herbs and spices that are all ground up and powdered up and nicely put into jars in the grocery store aisles, though they're plants, right? So yeah, so we are creating a relationship with plants, choosing the few that you like, and then learn everything you can about your favorites, right? Pick a few, smell them deeply. Every time you work with them, smell your plants. You don't go, oh yeah, I've smelled lavender before, or oh yeah, I know what rosemary smells like, right? Or right, or yeah, I know what cardamom smells like. It's good. Become a smeller. Every single time I work with rosemary, I taste it, I touch it, I smell it. That is how we communicate. It's like, I don't know, when you see your friend, you go, oh yeah, I hugged you last week, I hugged you yesterday, right? You don't do that. No, you hug her every time you see her. It's the same with the plants. Every time you see the plants, you say hello. It's like a friend that you're building a relationship with. So you and the plants, they communicate with us through our senses. And we are always changing, and this art is alive, right? It's like you in your relationship with anything. It's a living, evolving relationship, and it's about connection. So when working with the plants, you want to stay present with them. You don't want to let it become rote, right? And again, think of greeting them every time you use them. So every time you smell an herb or spice, the aroma, the oils enter your body. They affect your brain chemistry. They have an impact, right? So the plants, they heal us with our beauty, their smell, their color, their various shapes and textures, right? So yeah, one of the things that plants do for us is they activate our senses at a deeper level. So spend some time getting to know these friends, these helpers, and open up to taking in the sensory, the sensorial communication that the plants are constantly giving. And just because we might not understand the language of the plants, doesn't mean that they are not communicating with us. They are always communicating with us. So it is really, there's a bunch of kids outside. So this, having them in the center of our home, right? Enjoy the sensory pleasure of working with the plants, the spices that are right in your kitchen. They have so much to teach us, all right? So the plants. So next up is your techniques. So the techniques are like your tea, your syrup, your compress, your poultices, elixirs, electuary, you know, whatever the specific ins and outs of the different techniques, and when do you use which technique, right? I mean, if you have a sore throat, you do a gargle, not necessarily like a foot bath, right? When you have a toothache, you do an herbal chew. Like an herbal pillow is not going to really help you, right? So if you have athlete's foot, you're going to do a foot bath. You're not going to do an eye wash, right? So there are so many techniques. There are so many medicine-making techniques or herbal applications, and you learn them one at a time. You find a few that you can blend into your daily life so that you get the experience that you need to build your connection and confidence to this home art. And, you know, some of the techniques you'll be like, yeah, I want that as part of my everyday life. And some of the techniques some medicine making techniques you'll never do. So pick a few, get good at them, invite others over to share in that process with you. And I like to, I see my students making their medicine together, practicing their techniques together. And what we do is we create culture but by what we're inspired to make and do in our homes. So we gather up the plants with a loving heart, and we mix and brew them with our loving hands, and we make some medicine. And that is what is powerful about home remedies, is made from your hands and your heart. And you know, sometimes we read about it and we think we know it, but we don't. it's not embodied. Making your remedies, your teas, find the herbal medicine techniques that you like, that you resonate with, and whether it be syrups or salves, and making it, that's how we embody the information into wisdom. That's how we really get to know it, all right? So first, again, we start with the plants one by one. You ground into your favorite techniques, and then what you want to do is you hone your craft with recipes. Okay, so I like recipes. Do you have any recipes that you just love, that you are just like go-to recipes that are basically what you love to use? You know, so recipes are something that are given to us. They're a road that someone has traveled before. And, you know, some recipes are hundreds of years old. We inherit recipes from the wisdom that's been gathered and captured and then given to us. So, like, when you put rosemary in your bath, that's been done for thousands of years. And I feel like that's part of the healing. Recipes that have the healing of lineage that have been used for a long time or by a lot of people really adds to the healing. But basically, recipes, they're a structure that has been put to knowledge and, you know, been put together, and they're a starting point for many people. Some people like to stick with the recipes, and that's awesome. And some people never follow a recipe, and that's awesome too. But it's, you know, it's good to have recipes. Remember, this is a creative process, and you can bring this into your kitchen and become the artist. And so you want to enjoy this creative art. And if you come up with something that people are just like, wow, crazy over, try to remember what you did. Write it down, right? Capture it. Information becomes valuable when you put a structure to it so other people can benefit from what you learned and did, right? So you have the recipe journal. You have a recipe journal that you can create. I have a recipe journal in my kitchen, and when I hit the jackpot, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to write this one down. I learned that for sure. So you've got your plants, you're connecting with your plants, you're developing your techniques, you're developing your recipes. And guess what? I love hearing about recipes that you come up with. Which brings us to the next piece of our Home Herbalism Foundation, and that is you. Right? There's you and your personal preference, your unique you. Right? And so what you like and what you love and what you need and who you are, your unique blend of everything that you are and what you enjoy is going to go into that whole mix, right? So let's just say you're like, oh, I love thyme, right? You don't know why. Maybe you don't know why. Maybe you just love the smell of it, or you love the taste of it, right? So what are you attracted to? Right? I mean, do you know anybody that just like puts garlic in every dinner they cook? I know people like that. I mean, what do you like the taste of? What is the most comfortable to you, right? And so the problem is that I see a lot of people, you know, they read like, oh, this plant's good for them. This plant's good for me. I should take it. But you don't have to, right? You think it's healthy for you, but really your attraction to the taste and the smell, it tells you, right? With this craft, I would like to invite you to follow your senses of what you enjoy. And it's kind of like, I don't know, you don't like everybody you meet, right? It's impossible, right? And through the sense of smell, plants attract us. So what are you attracted to? Follow that, right? So I like most herbs. I like almost every herb, but there are a few that I don't like. And guess what? They're not in my recipes, no matter how popular they are. So see if you can guess which super common kitchen herb is missing from my book, The Herbal Kitchen. So it's like any relationship. You don't hang out with people you don't really like, right? Surround yourself with the herbs and spices that you are attracted to, right? So you are going for a long-term relationship here. So be you. Be your bright star and greet the plants, and then see what comes through. Let yourself fall in love with the plants you work with and just really put you into the mix. Enjoy it, right? So you put your special sauce gets added to all of this. And when what you love shines through, and you know, it's not just like another thing that you should do, it just has more life, which leads us to our fifth point, and that is experience. There's you, there's the people you care for, the people you love, your life, your experience. So let's say your partner sprained their ankle, or your son has acne. Your life is going to present your unique experience that will shape your materia medica, your materials of medicine, what plants, what techniques combine into which recipes you need, right? So like I had my tonsils out when I was 5. And then when I was in my 20s, I was in an automobile accident that damaged my thyroid. So my home wellness toolkit is full of sore throat remedies. I am all about sore throat remedies, right? So yeah, your environment shapes things. So there was one time where I lived next to a wall of rosemary, and I had already loved rosemary, but this hedge, it was like, wow, what else can I do with rosemary? I just decided I'm going to learn everything about this plant. And just because I moved next door to it, it just really came into my life. So my environment shaped my materia medica. I was just like, hey, I'm going to get to know this friend. So, there's just the everyday experience that life presents to you and what you do with that experience, right? So how do you connect with the plants and the techniques and do what humans have always done? And that is tending to, taking care of, mending, helping, preventing, providing, nurturing, caring, right? What experience does life offer you to apply yourself to? You will, your techniques, your recipes, everything is going to add up. And even if you take the same class as your neighbor, you're going to be doing something different, because basically it's all theoretical until you call it up and apply it with an experience. All right. So you've got your plants, your techniques, your recipes, and you and your experience. And I want to hear, what else do you think should go into the basics, the foundations of how we think about home herbalism? So leave me a comment.